Welcome everybody to this version of Stamp Chat. We're changing things up a little bit by offering Facebook Lives every now and again. My name's Heidi. I'm with the APS, and I'm so happy that everyone's joining us today here on Facebook Live. Most importantly, I would like to introduce to you, we have Dhatri Iyer, that's why we're all here, and her father, Bala, joining us from California. Hi, friends.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. Dhatri was a contributor in the December issue of the American Philatelist. She had a whole article on the Pongal Festival, and then she was featured in her very own article because she's an APS member and she's a sixth grader. She's a sixth grader who also writes travel blogs and is in the process of writing a thriller novel, which is really, really cool.
Thanks.
So, yeah, well, thank you. So, Dhatri, why don't you tell us a little bit about the festival? How about we start there?
Okay, so the Pongal Festival is like this festival in southern India, but it's celebrated all around the world. And what happens in it is like people want to like be thankful for the harvest they have. So they make pongal, which is like a rice food, and they make it, and it's just kind of like a festival to be happy and thankful about harvesting. So it's kind of like Thanksgiving, but about Pongal. Yeah.
And I mean, it's a very colorful celebration, isn't it?
Yeah, so what people do is they like actually take this like powder, and it's like in all sorts of different colors, and they draw different designs with it, and that's called columns.
And where do they draw the lines? Where are the designs?
So they're like all around the streets on people's like front steps and driveways and stuff like that.
And have you ever gone to a festival?
So usually we just kind of celebrate it at home, like in America. So what we do is it was actually the first day was actually yesterday. So what we did yesterday is we we like made a pongal, and we made pongal, and then and usually we like draw columns on our front steps and stuff.
And do you have any neighbors that also participate, or are you guys like the Pongal Festival house?
I don't think we have any neighbors that participate, but I think there's a few people that live like maybe down the street or something.
Okay. Now, you know, where are Pongal stamps? Where did where are your favorite Pongal stamps from? What country?
India, because that's where it originated and it's most widely celebrated.
And those are the ones that you showed in the article.
Yeah, they were.
Yes, super, super colorful. And how was that? How was that experience writing for the American Philatelist as a young writer? Did you pitch the article, or how did you go about that?
So basically, we didn't really know about it until a few months ago, which is when like we saw a tweet, and it said like to write for the holiday edition for APS. So we thought maybe this would be a good idea. So we like looked through our stamp collection, and we were trying to find like a Christmas stamp or something, because that's like one of the more widely celebrated holidays. But we instead like found a Pungal stamp, and we thought this could probably be cool because I didn't think that many people would write about this or have written about this in a stamp magazine. So that's how we decided to write in the APS, and it was a really great experience. It's really cool because there have actually been people that like reached out to me and told me that my article was really good.
Oh, really? And how did they get in touch with you?
Through one of my websites, which is voyagetheworld.com, and they went to the contact page and sent me a message.
I honestly had never, and I would fancy myself somebody who knows a little bit about the world, but this was the first time that I ever heard of this festival, and and other people felt the same way. So you should be very proud of yourself for educating so many people on this big, big holiday.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your origin story, because that's always a really, that's something that people want to hear about. Like, so here on Stamp Chat, we'll call them stamp stories. So what's your stamp story, Dhatri? How old were you? Who got you interested? Tell us about why stamps.
Well, I only started like collecting and getting interested in stamps less than a year ago, actually, because it was the pandemic and I was bored in the summer. So I thought maybe this would be a good idea. And we already have a stamp collection because our family has been collecting stamps for a really long time. It's kind of just been passed down. So yeah, we already had a stamp collection. So I was looking through that and I saw all these countries that I hadn't heard of or countries that didn't exist anymore. And I thought, wow, that's really cool because I'm really interested in geography and like countries and stuff. And also I just saw these colors and different shapes and sizes and even like different smells because some of the stamps with roses on them have like a rose scent to them. So I thought that was really cool that there could be so many different stamps.
What country does the rose stamp have the scent of the rose?
Um, I'm not completely sure, but
Okay.
maybe Mexico, I think.
That's really cool. And so when you and we had another young philatelist on for Stamp Chat, and he too said it was the pandemic that really got him started. So like, what's a day in the life? It was, what did your dad give you the album and said, did you just start looking at it and fell in love with it, or how did, what was that day like, or that time period?
So yeah, I didn't really start on a specific day, or if it did, I really don't remember. But I think it started over the course of maybe a week where we just like took the stamps out of the closet because we didn't really look at them before that, and we were looking through them. So that's when I got interested in them, and then we like bought some stamps off eBay and uh, started adding to the collection a bit more. So yeah, so basically we spent a lot of time like using tweezers and putting them uh in the binder and stuff.
Now, I have to ask you, so because we had a Stamp Chat a few weeks ago, Dr. Mike Pasco, and he was talking about stamps and young people, and particularly for his girls who were toddlers, how using the tongs or the tweezers was really good for their hands, and then also that the kids were able to just kind of get into, really find this flow state, really mellow. So what was it like, Dhatri? Are you, I know that you're a social media person, you have your own blogs and you have an Instagram. What was the sense of, did you have a different feeling when you were working with stamps as opposed to working online?
Yeah, well, it was better for my eyes, obviously, so it was like easier for me to work on it. And also, I think I like both of them equally, but the one thing that's good about stamp collecting over like writing for a blog is that you can it's less like looking at words and more looking at pictures and different designs, and I think that's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm always careful not to lead the witness, but I don't know about you, but you and I are both writers, professional writers, and uh, there's the analog nature of stamp collecting, so it's a reprieve. So it sounds like your eyes got a reprieve. And what was it? Were you sitting at a table? Like, did you did you find that hours went by without you knowing, or what was that experience like?
So I think we usually like sit at this like coffee table in the middle of a room, and we just like take the stamps and put them in the binder. But I don't think hours went by because at the beginning we didn't really have that many stamps to put in the binders. But I think maybe like 45 minutes to an hour I spent there just looking for the stamps and adding new ones into the collection.
And how are you organizing your album, Dhatri? By country or by time period? What's your theme?
So a lot of them are organized by country, but right now we don't really have a real good organization process right now.
Boxes work. Boxes work too. Yeah, with Post-it notes. That's what I have. Lots of boxes with Post-it notes. So you had mentioned that, you know, because I like, you mentioned the dead countries. So learning about, and for any, why don't you tell us what a dead country is? Let's not assume that everybody knows that.
Okay, so dead country is kind of like a country that doesn't exist anymore because it was like merged with another country or just gone, I guess. So yeah, it just doesn't exist anymore. So it's usually a name people haven't heard of, or like it's a name that got split into two, like west and east, or north and south of that country. So yeah, it's just a country that doesn't exist anymore.
And did you find, like, which countries did you find most intriguing?
Uh, for the dead countries?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, well, I don't I don't think I'm gonna pronounce this right, and I don't
That's
even
okay.
think I can say it, but, like, there's a country that has, like, 3 countries in Africa, like, I think Kenya maybe, and there was 3 countries together, and then they split up into, like, and it was, like, one whole country, and then they split into 3, so we have a couple of stamps from there, and I think it's really cool.
Have you watched any of the Graham Beck Exploring Stamps series?
No, not yet.
Okay, so on Exploring Stamps on YouTube, Graham Beck, he has a whole video, and his videos are short and really punchy, but it's all on dead countries. So you and everybody else who might be watching, you know, dead countries on Exploring Stamps. Because you've learned about dead countries, it's not like every 6th grader knows about that. So have you been able, and I'm assuming, are you going on remote school, or how are you doing school right now?
It's remote.
So have you been able to interweave your philately into any classes, or you just keep mum about it, or?
I don't think it's not really easy to do that when it's on a computer, because usually when you're in class, you actually don't talk a lot. It's usually the teacher talking, or you're just doing work. So, no, I haven't. It's kind of separate, I guess.
But and I don't mean to, you know, harp on the point, but I think that dead countries are really intriguing. And so when you were researching them, like, how did it feel for you to learn about countries that had dissolved? Like, what were the things that you were learning as you were kind of unpeeling this onion?
Uh, so I obviously found it really intriguing. So usually I like searched up these countries on Google or something, and then I read their Wikipedia page and saw what happened to them. And it also made me realize that uh, like so many things have changed over just like in just 1 year. So many things can change, and like some of these countries only split up like 40 or 50 years ago, and I think that's like really interesting to see that these things have been forgotten even after just a few decades.
I feel the same way, Dhatri. So you had mentioned that you found a couple of these countries' stamps. What countries are they, and where did you find them?
Uh, I cannot. I think maybe we have some from like pre breakup Korea or something.
Mm-hmm.
And and like I said, that 3 country thing in Africa, and some like when the Czech Republic and um, Slovenia were together. I think we have some from there. So yeah. Those are the ones, and we found them in just our stamp binder.
Oh, they were already there.
Hmm.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. My grandmother's stamp album ended up with me, and same thing. It's fascinating, right? And there they are, like remnants of a country in its stamp, and it's gone.
Hmm.
So what part of philately or stamp collecting is your favorite? Do you find you, I won't even put words in your mouth. What's your favorite part of stamp collecting?
So every month we get like an envelope with a bunch of stamps in it, and I think that's my favorite, which is like because we don't have stamps from every country in the world, you know? So I think my favorite part is getting stamps from a place that we don't have yet, because I think that's really cool that we're like building the stamp collection and adding more and more countries to it.
So the actual the surprise of the, where do you get your stamps every month that you're talking about?
Oh, so there's someone named Philata Lovely, and like you have to pay him like $5 a month to get stamps coming in every month, and he gives like a lot of stamps every month, and that's really cool. So yeah,
That
that's where we
is,
get it.
yeah, that is very cool. That's philately lovely. And for anybody, and they are philately lovely, is a gentleman actually, and he is on Facebook and he's on Twitter for any of our friends who are interested in that program. And Dhatri, would you be interested in receiving stamps? I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty of people who would like to send you stamps.
Yeah, that would be really cool if I could get some. That would be really cool.
And they can find you. Can you tell us your website again, Dhatri?
Voyagetheworld.com.
Forage the
No,
voyage the
yeah, Voyage.
voyagetheworld.com. So any
Yeah.
of our philatelists out there in the APS, there's always a spirit of generosity, particularly with new collectors. So you can contact Dhatri at, I have it, I wrote it down, voyagetheworld.com.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. So as you've been learning, are there websites? Are there, you mentioned Philately Lovely. What are your go-to resources? Where do you immediately click or, to learn about stamps?
Well, I do look at the APS sometimes, but usually I just search it up on Google and click on the first thing that comes up,
Mm.
like Wikipedia or something.
I-
So,
so have you learned about the Scott catalog yet and taken that leap?
no, not yet.
Okay.
I've usually just been looking at the magazines. I think that's where I usually look at.
Well, and just for anybody's interest and your interest as well, in March, we will have a course taught by our Director of Expertising, Ken Martin, who also started as a very young philatelist, and his lifetime, he's made it his career, but he will be teaching a course on the Scott catalog. So we'll probably all want to jump on that. So more about your writing. Do you incorporate more stamp collecting? Do you think that there'll be more articles with stamps? How do you see the two merging, your two, joys, your two hobbies?
So sometimes what I do is like if I read about a country like Greece or something, I don't know, I take a picture of a stamp I have from that country and I put it into the article and say like just as an add-on, here's a stamp from that country.
Oh,
But
that's so
usually,
cool.
uh, usually they don't as much like they don't really combine as much, but yeah, that's what I do to make them combine.
Well, I can certainly appreciate that you're doing that, Dhatri, because it sounds like you found like stamps really can be integrated into everything, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I love that at the end of your writing, if you find a stamp that correlates with your story, that you're showing it, because you're introducing more people to the hobby. And kudos to you as an APS member for, being such a great recruiter. That's awesome. Do you do you know any other young stamp collectors? Are you on an island by yourself, so to speak, or are have you talked with young collectors?
No, actually, I've never met anyone my age who collects stamps. So no.
Well, you'll want to stay tuned then, because this year we're kind of on a mission to showcase young people in philately. And I definitely have heard many times that the quarantine, got people to, interested in it. So that's fantastic. What, if there was a stamp that you could just, snap your fingers and have, do you know which one that would be?
That rose stamp I was talking about, I think that would be my favorite. Yeah. So the rose smelling, looking stamp.
There are stamps, and I believe it's Bhutan, and if I'm not right, I'm sure we'll get it in the comment section. They're records. Did you know that?
Oh,
They're little records.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and you can play them. They're really, really cool. So do you think that this will be something that you want to continue? Are you having a good time with it? Are you taking a break, or where are you in the hobby?
So I do have a lot of school right now, so I'm not able to do it as much as when I did it over summer break or winter break. But I'm still we're still ordering stamps from eBay and different websites, and yeah, so I'm still collecting, and I think I would like to continue collecting.
And as far as we've heard about your blog, and then are you doing Instagram with your collecting or your writing, or how are you using your social?
So me and my dad, we both have an Instagram account called Stamp Monkeys, and it's just like we take pictures of stamps we have and post them. And for my website, my blog, I have a Instagram account called Forge the World blog and a Twitter called Forge the World and a Pinterest called Forge the World and a YouTube.
Wow, I didn't know that you had a YouTube, Dhatri.
Yeah, there's only one video because I started it like a week ago, but yeah.
Cool, welcome to YouTube. That's great. Well, as you get more videos, and we'll definitely subscribe. So friends, if you're on, be sure to like and subscribe. Voyage of the World, that's Dhatri's YouTube channel. And as you grow your videos, be sure to get in touch with me, Dhatri, because we have a newsletter where we promote virtual philately, and that's really fantastic.
Okay, cool.
When are there any philatelic groups or people that you follow on Instagram that you would recommend to other people?
I don't know about a group, but like the one I was talking about, Philately Lovely, and yeah, that's like the main one for me. I think that's one of my favorites just because we get so many stamps from him and it's really cool. So that one, yeah.
And so nobody in particular on Instagram. Do you ever see what's out there on Instagram in terms of stamps?
Yeah, I do. Like I look at the hashtags for it and stuff, but I don't I don't think I really look at social media for stamps that much.
So it's for stamps, it's more personal for you. It's between you and your dad, and the stamps that you get in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of speaks to Dr. Pascoe's point, which was, it's an analog. It can be virtual, obviously, that's what we're doing right now, but it can also be really analog, and we can disconnect. So if I'm sure at some point somebody is going to be watching this video that looks like you. They're like, oh, it's a young person. what would you suggest to them, in terms of, how to get started?
You should just like, if you already have stamps, then just look through them. Don't really think about it, just do it.
Mm.
And you can buy really cheap ones off eBay or other websites. So yeah, you should just start it, and then maybe you'll like it.
I couldn't offer better advice, with the exception of go to stamps.org and you can join the Young Stamp Collectors of America. But otherwise, it's true, just have a good time. So do you think you'll be looking to write for the AP again, or maybe for our website?
Yeah, I would love to. I haven't checked what magazines are coming or anything, but yeah, I think that I would like to do that again.
Awesome. Well, you know that you have a space for us, particularly on stamps.org. We were just thrilled to the moon to have you as a contributor, as somebody who shared Pongal with us. And, you're in 6th grade, Dhatri, and you've got so much going on between your website, your Insta, your writing. So it's fantastic. What else, do you have any other writing pursuits that you're, or where you're going to be published?
I don't think I'm going to be published soon. I haven't really thought about that, but no, I guess no, I haven't started anything new. Although I am writing like a thriller book on worldwritersweekly.wordpress.com.
World Writers Weekly. On your website, Dhartri, do you have all these different links so people can look around for you?
On my website, yeah, I have all the links to my social media accounts.
Okay, great. And then also, friends, if you look in the December issue, either online or, of course, the hard copy, you can find all the different social media handles and Dhartri's website and where she's writing her thriller book. You can find that in her About section. Well, thank you so much, Dhatri, and happy Pongal to you. And thank you to your family for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for representing, the younger generation of philatelists. And please know that this community is always willing to, mentoring is really built into this hobby. So you've got a friend, and whether you know it or not, you just mentored somebody new into the hobby. So I really appreciate that. And I thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on APS Facebook Live. Our guest today was Dhatri Iyer. She's the contributor for the December issue of the American Philatelist. She had an article on the Pongal Festival and a great layout on her. We will be coming back with Facebook Live. Be sure to go to stamps.org/news. When you scroll to the bottom, you can subscribe to our newsletter to stay current on what's coming up. We are in full throttle with the new year, so lots of great content coming up. Thanks so much, Dhatri, and thanks so much, everyone, for joining. Remember to connect, collect, keep up with us on social, where you'll find us here on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, of course, on stamps.org, the American Philatelic Society, social since 1886. Woof, woof, Dhatri, I hear that dog in the back. All right, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you around,
You're
everybody.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.